welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'll just be talking about some lessons I learned along the way on my journey during the residency application cycle, and hopefully I can pass along some advice and some knowledge and some tips that help me along the way to anyone that's in the current process or who will be going through the process in the future. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to highlight and quickly say that these are simply my own experiences and simply my own opinions. It does not reflect the opinions of my employer or the opinions of the hospitals that I'm affiliated with. All right, so the very first advice that I have is there's nothing more imperative and nothing more important than submitting your application on time. Make sure you get the application in on time. That is the number one most important rule. You've probably heard this over and over and over again throughout the cycle, or if you haven't, then I'm glad you're hearing it for the first time, because that is without a doubt the number one most important rule. Get your application in on time and make sure the application is complete. It has to be a complete application in on time. That's number one. I say this because there are some programs that do roll-in admissions, or there are programs that as soon as the download date for the residency application cycle is due, they download everything and then they don't look at the portal again till much later on in the cycle. So that first batch of downloads are the people that they're assessing and people that they're sending out interview invites to. So if you miss that deadline of that first download, unfortunately, you might not be within the first batch of people that they give priority to and they select, and then you might be competing with whatever is left at the end. So without a doubt, number one rule is getting your complete application in on time. And then the next advice is find what makes you different and unique. That could be your exam scores, it could be research experience, it could be life experience, or it could be hurdles that you've had to overcome during your medical journey or life in general, and highlight that in your personal statement. But ensure that your personal statement is still well-rounded, but try to make whatever makes you unique be the centerpiece of your personal statement. And also try to have many people look at your personal statements, people that you trust and people that you feel like know you personally well, or people that have gone through similar experience. Just have more eyes look at your personal statement, but not too many eyes. So ideally you want to have maybe about 3 to 4 people, and 3 to 4 different kind of people. That was the way I did it. So I had my mom look at it. I also had a professor look at it. I had the school's writing center to look at it. And those were all for different perspectives. So my mom knew my personal strengths, and I tried to make sure that that was highlighted appropriately. The writing center was to make sure that there were no grammatical errors, and then a professional was to make sure that I highlighted my professional strengths appropriately as well. So try to have different perspectives, look at it, and also try to give you feedback. Take every feedback constructively, and then try to make sure that you highlight your strength appropriately and make whatever makes you unique at the center piece, and let that be the foundation of your personal statement. And then the third advice is try to find a way to get yourself into whatever institution that is your top, or at least your top 2 or 3 institutions. That could be in whatever ways. It could be attending any events that they could have online or even in person to try and showcase their institutions. A lot of these institutions have virtual meet and greets that you could always attend. It could also be doing away rotation. So for me personally, I knew my top 2 programs and I tried to attend or do an away rotation during that time. So that just shows extra interest in those programs. And from there, you could also get connections that could end up making the world of difference. Another importance of attending these virtual meet and greets or doing an away rotation is that this is something that you could also highlight in your personal statement if you individualize it for a program, or if you do get invited for an interview, you could highlight how your time over there made you more interested in the program. You could highlight the positive things that you learned or saw during your time at the institution. And then a fourth advice is trying to showcase your different strengths within who you ask to write you letters of recommendation. So it is very important to know that the number one rule with letters of recommendation is find people who won't just write something generic. You have to find someone that you trust will take time to highlight your strengths, and if possible, try to find people within different aspects of your training. So for example, I applied into internal medicine. Most of the programs I applied to needed 3 letters of recommendations. So I asked an internal medicine attendant that I worked under during my internal medicine rotation as a medical student. I also asked a mentor of mine who's a cardiologist. And then thirdly, I asked the program director of the internal medicine program at my medical school. So those were 3 different individuals that saw me from 3 different perspectives. Definitely recommend having someone who you know will take time to write a well-detailed recommendation on you and also various aspects. And with each of these individuals, I took out the initiative, emailed them, asked them if we could sit down to talk, just for them to get to know me even more, and also get to know the kind of things I was interested in. Another important aspect is also to do a deep self-reflection, knowing exactly what you want from a program and knowing exactly where you feel you will fit best and where you would maximize your time and also what will bring out the best aspects of you. Every program is different. Residency is going to be hard regardless of where you go. So it's important to know that, okay, if you go somewhere that despite it being difficult and hard, there are also going to be some kind of balancing act that will help you optimize your 3, 4, 5, however amount of years you're going to spend during residency. So this could be the city. There's some people that do love big cities. There's people that love a city with a beach, a way to just escape when you're outside the hospital. It could also be proximity to family and friends. It could also be a city or a program that you feel has a lot of diversity. It could be a program that you feel doesn't do a 28-hour shift. If you're someone who despises 28-hour shift, and that's something to also reflect on and do your research beforehand. I say this coming from a point of view of some people do have to apply all over regardless of anything I just mentioned previously. So I do say this coming from a place of privilege, knowing that sometimes you can't pick and choose. But that's just something to keep in mind if you are in that position where you can pick and choose where to apply to. And then something else also keep in mind is in the section of the application where it says to write something interesting or a fun fact about you. Do make that fun fact actually fun, if possible. Try to find something that is unique to you and is special to you, and something that you feel like you can talk a lot about, something that you can definitely show some passion about if it does come up during the interview cycle. Because it will come up. There will be some program directors that will ask you about that fun fact that you'd listed. And then lastly, if you are someone that requires a visa sponsorship like myself, then definitely do your research on what programs sponsor what visas, because you don't want to waste your time applying to a program that might not sponsor the right visa that you need. So make sure that you do look through the programs, do your research beforehand, find the programs that sponsor the right visas that you need. And with that, wishing everyone that's going through this cycle the best of luck. It's a lot of stress, it's very time consuming, it's expensive, it's mentally draining, but you're all gonna do great, and hopefully everyone ends up where they desire. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and if you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll catch you all at the next one. Thank you all for watching.